Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the XP podcast. My name is Rob, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Adam and Austin. Starting with Adam, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Did some yoga
Nice,
basically right before this, so
nice.
Self-care.
feeling loose, limber,
Wow.
Oh, okay,
ready to
okay.
go.
Nice,
Good.
Austin. How you doing?
Doing good. Just, finished a good busy week, the new job. Stressful is all get
Nice.
out, but happy it's the weekend. And I have some iced coffee in December, and
There we
it's
go.
delicious.
There we
It's
go.
best.
And there ain't no other way to do it but that way. I just came off of a shift at a coffee shop that I'm working at. It was kind of
Nice.
like our technical sneak peek, not even like a small opening. And so we got so slammed. So
Whoa.
I'm kind of like, I need to chill.
Was it like a soft opening?
No, so that's the thing. That's what I mean. That's what I meant to say. Soft opening. It wasn't even a soft opening. It was even smaller than that. It was technically just supposed to be a sneak peek. We live in North Texas, and there's like this coffee crawl that we have, and so all the coffee shops in the area, people buy a pass, and then you go to all the different coffee shops. We were one of them,
cool.
But not only that, all the other coffee shops that have already been existing, they just continue their day while also doing this coffee crawl on the side. We have been training this entire time. And so we thought, hey, let whoever wants to just come in while we're doing this, we'll let you come in just for the small amount of time that they're doing the coffee crawl. And God bless, we got hit. So
Dang, man.
It was very stressful, but I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, really, really fun. But those who are listening, y'all not here for some coffee talk. We're here to talk about some video games. And this is a big podcast because we're talking about the Game Awards themselves. But before we get into that, let me give you the rigmarole. The XP podcast is a video game podcast where I, along with my co-hosts, gather together to talk about all things video games for your amusement. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can send them at us on Twitter at Ambitious Casual, or you can email us at xppodcast@ambitiouscasual.com. And in the comments of the video, you can go let us know what you think about anything that we're talking about in regards to the show, and utilize the timestamps in the show notes because they're there for you. I'll be honest with you, don't know if there'll be timestamps for this one unless I timestamp every little thing that we talk about, but there's a lot that we're going to be covering today because we're covering the Game Awards. Before we get into like the nitpicky things, I want to get y'all's overall review of what you thought of the Game Awards. I want to start with Austin. Austin, have you sat down and watched any of the previous year Game Awards from beginning to end, or have you just picked up on the highlights afterwards? And what were your thoughts on this year's Game Awards?
Yeah, so until this year, I had never watched VGAs all the way through. Like I'd never sat down and like just went through it. Until this year, I've usually just caught up on highlights like the day after on YouTube.
Nice.
But this year, I was like, you know what? Like, I really just want to immerse my brain into the world of video games for this evening. And that is definitely what happened. It was a whole evening of announcements, concert, music performances, everything. It was fun. Like I really did enjoy it. It made me happy to sort of like be a part of like a large group of passionate video game people. It was
That's
fun.
awesome.
It's always fun just to hear from like all the different creators and like see them get awards for their super hard work. And, they're just always just so thankful and just amazed that they get to do what they do for a living. So it is really good. I thought them like addressing having like an inclusive workspace and like, calling out all, sexual assault, calling out all the, Blizzard and all the companies that have just been massively under fire for good reason. Right at the beginning, I was like, yes, that was appropriate. Like you can't move on with this show without addressing the massive, horrible elephant in the room. So I thought that was good. I thought there was just all in all a good tone to the show. I thought, it went well. There were slow parts for me. Like, there were parts and moments where I was just like, I don't really care about any of this stuff. But it was nice just to have a, relaxing evening, just listening and watching to all things video games. I was happy with the world premieres. I thought there were some good ones in there.
Totally.
So yeah, all in all, it was a fun experience. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Adam, I want to throw it to you. Have you watched the VGAs as a yearly thing from beginning to end? Do you catch up with the highlights? And what were your thoughts on this year's?
I have watched it before. I'm trying to remember how many years it's been. I've maybe watched the last 2 or 3. I remember for sure Xbox Series X being shown what it would look like for the first time during the VGAs. I guess it's been 2 years since that one. So I've probably watched at least 2 or 3 years. I thought it was okay. The announcements were cool. I didn't think there was anything phenomenal. And then obviously, I mean, we'll get into a bunch of why I thought the announcements and all that was kind of just middling. But then it was super ad heavy. Obviously, I know they gotta get paid to put it on somehow, but it's like I would totally be fine with making it a much smaller production if we could actually focus more on the actual Game Awards portion. Yeah. And then, of course, still have announcements mixed in.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's fair.
In regards to the VGAs, I have watched these things for, I would have to say, for the past 5 years. I've from beginning to end. This has been like just an annual thing for me. I really enjoy these. I'm a huge fan of Jeff Keighley. I think he's a really, really cool guy. I think he really, really loves video games and wants to put them on this platform and make them bigger than what they actually are. So I really enjoy just the idea and the aspect of the VGAs. It's like the Oscars, but for video games, you know?
Yes.
And so I really enjoy that. This year's in particular, it's hard to say that I liked it all too much, especially when it comes down to the awards portion as a whole. I will say the awards, though it's called the Game Awards, the awards are not the highlight of the show. And you cannot deny that. It just isn't. And if that's the case, I mean, look, if that's what Jeff wants to do, that's totally fine. He can do whatever he wants. He's in the power to do that. But I think there needs to be some things that need to change to distinguish between the two, because you need to. There's an importance. I was fighting for some certain games to win awards. I really was, but they're kind of overshadowed when you got all these ads and then you got all these huge announcements. It's hard to do that. Right. And no other shows do that. Like the Oscars don't go and they show off a new trailer for the newest Avengers movie that's going to come out that has never been seen before. You know, like this is only something that happens only for video games. And so it's cool. I love it, but there needs to be some more like defining of lines between awards and previews and premieres and stuff like that. Again, this year, I don't think there was that many games this year that were heavy hitters for me that I was like, I'm here for this one. I'm telling you right now, next year's going to be a bloodbath.
It's going to be wild.
Moly, next year's going to be wild. And so I'm actually looking forward to next year. But while we're talking about this year's, it was fun. I enjoyed what I saw. I think Xbox had the smartest ads out of everybody. Ads that were smart enough to the point where I was like, I'm actually enjoying watching this because you are actually you're poking fun of the fact that this is an ad, you know? But everything else other than that, and I can go much deeper later once we get into that, we see things from Level Infinite that was all over the place. And then you see things from Riot. You're seeing things from AMD completely teasing us because no one can get chips anywhere. And then on top of all of that, you know, we get how many times were we reminded of Spotify Wrapped? Spotify Wrapped happened 2 weeks ago. And it's already been a thing. Like if you're part of Spotify, that's the first thing that you're notified the day of, you know? So either or, at the end of the day, hey, I had fun still. I'm not going to lie and say that I was miserable the whole time. Could I have done without what was the game called? Dove K-pop segment.
Dokv.
Yeah. Dokv, thank you. I could have been totally okay without that being there.
That's the best part.
That's when it actually all started, you know? And so
that's when it started.
You could literally just have chopped off the last hour of that show.
You could.
It would have been better for it.
But without further ado, let's get into the awards real fast. I do want to call out the fact that I'm going to talk about one in particular. If there's others that you guys want to talk about, throw them out there. I'm really, really happy that It Takes Two won Game of the Year. I think Josef Fares, in my opinion, the lead director for Hazelight, they've done Brothers, they've done A Way Out, and they've done It Takes Two. I've played A Way Out with my wife, and also It Takes Two. Both those games, my wife and I have played. We have loved them, and I truly, truly mean this when I say this. I think Josef Fares is a pioneer in video games, and he's literally bringing that next level. Like, we've had Hideo Kojima, we have Shigeru Miyamoto, and then we have people now that are younger, and we got like Neil Druckmann for Naughty Dog, who's bringing in The Last of Us and pushing that. We have Josef Fares, who's like, he's looking at co-op games in a completely different way than we've ever seen them before, and really pushing the boundaries that co-op games can actually do. And so he has so much love for what he does. And he's the kind of guy when It Takes Two is coming out, he's like, if you don't like this game, I'll give you money. I'll pay you back for the game, because there's no way you're not going to like it. Like, he's such a he has such an awesome personality. I love the guy. And so I'm so happy that him and the team won It Takes Two for Game of the Year, because he deserves it. But kicking it off, we'll start with Austin. Austin, was there anything in regards to the awards list aspect that, caught you out by surprise, or were you wanting something to win, or was the awards kind of secondary to you while everything else was the premieres that was most important?
There were a few awards that I was excited to hear about. Specifically, I was really interested to see who'd win Best Performance. Oh, yeah. Obviously, Giancarlo Esposito was up there. I mean, he's just the most well-known, obviously. And so I was actually, I mean, as much as of a fan as I am of Giancarlo, I'm really happy that Maggie Robertson got the win for Best Performance. Totally. With her performance in Resident Evil. Like, I agree. I think she totally deserved it. Like, when that game came out, or like even when trailers and stuff were coming out, like that was all over the place. Everyone was obsessed with the character, like maybe in some weird ways, but like everyone loved her, and I was really happy to see her win. Her acceptance speech was like really sweet. Like, she was just so thankful, and I think she absolutely deserved it. And I hadn't really even played the game. But I haven't played any of the games, but just from like from an outside perspective, like I think she absolutely deserved it. So that was exciting. I was really blown away by Best Narrative going to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
totally.
I was not expecting that, like, at all. I was like,
a lot of people were.
I mean, like, and on the other hand, like I heard great things about it. I heard, this game is surprisingly very touching. Like, there are some emotional moments in this game, and I kind of heard that when the game first released. So now I'm like really interested in the game. Like, I'm like, well, maybe I need to. I mean, this one, Best Narrative, that's huge. I mean, that's storytelling. I mean, that's such a. It's like what it's all about is telling stories in a game, and this one. So that was surprising. I think I may have to go ahead and pick that up for sure. Yeah. But yeah, those are like the top two highlights for me. I was really happy to see It Takes Two won Game of the Year. I think I'm always kind of rooting for the games that are maybe a little bit outside of the box, thinking a little bit differently. And I think It Takes Two is that game. So I'm really happy that it got the award.
I agree.
So that was good. I was happy. Everything else, I think those are probably my main things. Best mobile game, obviously Genshin. I'm just like, how is this game free to play? Like, it's so good.
So good.
And how is this? How am I playing this on my iPhone? Like, So yeah, those are my highlights for sure.
I think in regards to Guardians of the Galaxy, I think there is so many people, and I mean so many people, that are on the fence of that game just because of what we've experienced as Marvel fans in regards to Marvel's Avengers and how we got treated with that game. And so everyone's on the fence with this one. And I think, if anything, we've heard people say Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is actually really good. And some people are like, is it really? Like, I'm not sure. And I think the fact that it won Best Narrative has completely toppled everyone on that fence to the other side. And now I hope it rises to the top and people are getting back in and trying the game up, because it seems like it deserves it. And I'm interested now. So Adam, your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess to piggyback on a couple of Austin's picks real quick, it's such a weird thing voting on Best Narrative and like Best Performance, in a video game, one, like how many of the people that are voting have played all the games, and how many of them played them to completion? Because like a narrative and a performance, like you got to take into consideration the entire game, basically. And so I'm not saying she shouldn't have won, because I didn't play the game, so I have no idea of knowing. But for Maggie Robertson, it's like her character taking the internet by storm probably made her pretty easy for people to vote for her, even if they hadn't played the game.
If they hadn't played the game.
Like, I know so much about like her performance already, not having played the game, because of just how viral it went. And then also for the best narrative thing, it's like maybe a lot of the people who are kind of on the fence with Guardians haven't seen it all the way through. So there's so many times I would actually even just like cite my own experience with Horizon Zero Dawn, in that the story for me on that game doesn't really pick up until like the third act. And it's like, and then I'm like, okay, I'm so in on the story now. You know, up to that point, it had been a good game, but then like the story really kicked in at the end. So that just makes things weird for me, I guess, in terms of awards.
Yeah, that's
but
weird.
Overall, I was pretty happy with who won for each category. I think, you know, kind of like with the Oscars, it's easy to see just like one game kind of come in and sweep half the categories.
Yeah.
Obviously,
it's happened before.
I mean, Last of Us Part 2, I think won, I don't know, 6 or 7, something crazy like that. And so I really thought that was going to be Deathloop. And I haven't played it, but a lot of the stuff I've heard is like, maybe it's not as good as some of its critical reception actually says it is. So I was a little nervous about that. But, you know, seeing Kena win Best Indie Game, even though I would say it's kind of borderline. Whether it's an indie game or not, it's a phenomenal game. I'm glad it won.
I agree 100%.
Especially over 12 minutes. I saw that 12 minutes got nominated. And I'm like, dude, should this really be nominated?
It's hard to say.
Should it really?
It's hard to say.
I don't know. There was something I said was missing from the indie game category, and I can't remember what it was at this point, but oh well. And then, of course, seeing Returnal win Best Action Game was awesome too.
Yes.
So I've just started the game, and it's so good.
They needed
but
that.
I've also heard so many people say that because of its difficulty and the long runs, that it's really hard for it to reach maybe a larger audience. So seeing them still get a award for it was really restored my faith a little bit, because I was ready to come into this awards show and be like, you know, they do a couple of bad wins, and I'm done with this award show for good. So it kind of restored my faith a little bit.
Yeah, I will say in regards to the awards aspect, and I don't fully understand the thought process around this, and so I'm not saying that what I'm thinking is definitive. I guess I can still grow in regards to my thoughts on this. I've never understood why, in regards to the Oscars, some people wanted to take away the best female actress and best male actor, and they want to combine them. I've never understood that, because in my mind, when I look at those categories, I don't ever feel like male actors and female one's better than the other. In my mind, I'm like, it gives them both a chance. And if I was going up, like if I was a male actor and I was going up against, I don't know, Julia Roberts, I'd be like, God, I don't want to go up against her. She's better than me. And so I would much rather be in my own category, so that way I have a chance. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of wish, in regards to acting in the Game Awards, I wish they did something like that too. Not because, and again, this is not me trying to say male are better than female or whatever. I just for that way, one, there's more awards to give out, and one, you can, there's more of a chance for these actors, because there's so many actors, and I feel like out of the 5, 2 of them were out of one game, and there were so many games that came out within this past year. You know what I'm saying? And so now I'm thinking to myself, what is next year going to look like with all the games that are coming out? Like, some people are going to be left out, whether you're female or male, no matter what or whatever you I don't even know. And whatever you refer to yourself. And so with all that being said, I just feel like some people are going to be left out, because the category only reaches, I think, 5 or 6 actors in total, 6 actors within a total of how many games in a year? I feel like if you broke that up and at least had 5 and 5, there's 10 people that have a chance. And so for me in that aspect, that's, that is what it is on that regard. I'm happy that Returnal got an award. I'm surprised that it got an award, especially to the fact that when you look at how these award shows go and what games are nominated and what games win every single time, there's a trend. And you will see what games are being chosen due to what is the hit genre amongst the industry. These are select people that are chosen to come in and select these games. I'm telling you right now, not every single one of them beat Returnal all the way. And even some of the people that are on the board, I'm pretty sure on Twitter have gone out when Returnal came out and were like, I can't beat it. It's too hard. It was fun, but I just couldn't beat it. And there was a lot of people during that time when the game came out that said that. So when I saw Returnal 1, I was mind blown. But I think what we need to do in regards to the awards as a whole is we need to diversify who are the ones who are actually voting on the games. Like, look, I'm like, if you want to be a part of this elite group of voting people, your job is to just play JRPGs this year. You are the one that knows what this is like. And so we're coming for you for your vote on this one in particular, because there's some people that only play JRPGs. Why should they tell us what is the best fighting game if they have no idea what about a fighting game? You know what I'm saying? And so that's my only problem in regards to the way the voting works on that. It's not like movies. Movies are so easy to just go 2 hours, watch, give a review. Not trying to diminish your job. I'm just saying games can take hours upon hours upon hours. And then sometimes you don't even see everything all the way through. And so,
yeah.
Adam, did you have something you want to add? Oh, awesome.
No, I was just...
I agree with you, Rob. And I think that like there are so many wonderful performances in video games that like I think there does need to be more awards. The thing there is like people sort of like the non-binary group who don't really like identify as like male or female, and like how that could potentially, put people in boxes. I think like the best way to do it would be like having best performance in an indie title, best performance in an action adventure, best performance in like an RPG, stuff like that. I think like dividing it up by like genre of video game, I think it would open up more seats for sure. And like, be more, I guess, inclusive in like the language that it's using. But it is like, I do wish there was more, and I wish there was like more emphasis on like the performance of everyone. Like, I think it would be like really, I think it'd be good, because there's so much like the performance you see in like, I don't know, an RPG is, I feel like, way different than a performance you see like in like a completely different genre. I feel like the demands are different, acting wise. So yeah, I agree. I want to see more awards for the acting and stuff.
Adam, what did you want to add?
I was just going to talk about the time investment, right? So for me to 100% Death's Door, which is an indie game, and so it's going to be one of the shorter ones, it still took me like 18 hours to see everything that is in that game, right?
God.
Yeah.
And then you think of like JRPGs, like Tales of Arise, like how long to beat? Pegs just the main story at 40 hours. And so really, playing through all these games, it's a huge investment. Yeah. And then, stuff like Returnal we talked about, for a lot of people, it's just too difficult to even finish. So it's, you really need to kind of change how I think you do it.
I agree. Before we leave the award segment, one last thing I want to say is I want to give a shout out to best ongoing game, which is Final Fantasy 14. I've played it. I love the game so far. I've not gone so far into it, but the reason why I'm so happy for them is because that developer are some of the nicest, caring developers in the industry. When they came out and they were talking about the new expansion for this year, like the guys were up there talking in a panel and they started crying because they just were not able to get it done as quickly as they wanted to get it out for their fans, because they love the fans that much. And one of the guys even he went through cancer, and he felt sad to the fact that it pulled him away from the project and that he couldn't be there to finish this for the fans, And so there's some wholesome people over there at that studio, and I love them. They're great. They're the ones who are working on the next Final Fantasy. What is it, 15? And so 16. Thank you. They're working on Final Fantasy 16. So I am so excited to see what they can do because they are really, really good at what they do. Moving on to the premieres, the announcements, things like that. I want to start with Austin. Awesome. I want you to tell us and we'll start with one. What was one of the premieres or announcements that popped up that made you excited? And then we can all just start discussing that if we thought so as well.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, Star Wars Eclipse. Wasn't expecting it. Honestly, I was like, going into it, I was like, I'm not going to see anything Star Wars. I'm just got to prepare my mind. Like, they're Star Wars, Disney, like, they're all they keep their cards close and they announce everything on their own terms these days. They're not going to want to affiliate with the VGA, and then we got, at first I didn't even know it was Star Wars because it looked so unfamiliar to me. And I, obviously I was like, okay, aliens, space, but nothing looked super familiar. But then the Lucasfilm Games, title came up and I was like, whoa, wait, what? Yeah. And then it started looking more familiar and I was like, oh my gosh. I really was, it was a great trailer. I mean, obviously it was cinematic. We're not going to see gameplay for at least a year and a half, 2 years maybe. But it was exciting to like see the world that they're building. This is based in the High Republic, which I believe is hundreds of years before the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
So whereas like the Old Republic is like thousands of years. I might be wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But it's been rumored that like they need, they're writing books in this era, the High Republic era. They've already started doing that. And like, I remember when they announced the whole High Republic era, like a year or so ago. So it's exciting to see that, video games, books are exploring this era of Star Wars. And I'm really, really excited to see where this game goes. It was a great trailer and it's a beautiful trailer.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I loved it.
I think what was interesting about the trailer is that it came on right after Hellblade. And so the art of like Vikings and stuff like that was already in our mind. And so when it cuts to the beginning of Star Wars Eclipse and there's these guys like banging on these drums. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, I didn't even think Star Wars because they had like this paint on their bodies and it just seemed it just seemed very different, And so I couldn't tell. And then it wasn't until you see the ship go through and it's flying into the planet of whatever it was. I don't even know. Then I was like, oh my God, this is Star Wars. And what's even funny about all that is we had an episode that we recorded, didn't go up thanks to Riverside, just files got messed up. And so I actually had a story for that episode in regards to a leak for Star Wars Eclipse, but I cut it because I thought it was just a leak and I didn't think it was official. And we had too many stories, so I cut it. But this is interesting, dude. I know nothing about the High Republic or things like that. Adam, what are your thoughts in regards to Star Wars Eclipse? Are you excited?
I think so. It's so early to know. That's how I felt about a lot of the new announcements. It's kind of like a mood setting trailer.
Yes.
It's like, this is obviously the High Republic era. This is kind of like the mood that we're putting forward, but without knowing anything about what's the gameplay like, what's the actual story going to be like.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to know. I mean, you can be excited and look forward to it, but not too excited.
What if it ends up being like a card game?
Exactly.
Or like some really slow moving, like, I mean, I know people love turn-based action. I might be in the minority here, but like, I would be upset if it was like this slow-moving turn-based action, type game. Like, I would be upset. So I agree with you, Adam. It's like, I love this cinematic trailer, but what if it ends up being just this sort of flop of a thing?
Mm-hmm. I will say in regards to the people who are making it, are Quantic Dream. They are known for very, very cinematic games. And I think it's more so to the fact that it's hard, man. They're not really action. It's more decision making and quick time events. And so they're known for Heavy Rain. They're known for the new one, Detroit Become Human. They're known for, I forgot the name was, that Elliot Page was in long before. I forgot the name of the game. But anyways, and so
Beyond Two Souls.
Thank you. Beyond Two Souls. And so they've made those 3 games very cinematic. Big actors are in them. Well, big in the sense of there's actors in them that you are aware of and you know when you see them that they're not mainly video game actors. They're like known for movies or TV. And so when it comes to this, I'm excited. They are, I think, separate. This is like they're an independent group now. They're independently publishing their own stuff now. There's a very different Quantic Dream that we've seen for a while. And so I'm excited to see what they have to do. They're very cinematic. So I think based on Vanessa played Detroit Become Human. I sat there when she was playing it. It is a very intense, very good looking game. It's fun, but it is intense. And so knowing the kind of stuff that they do, this game's not going to be like this, let's run around and just do Star Wars swords and things like that. Unless it is and they're going a different route, good on them. We'll see what they can do. But all I know is that they're good at story and they're good at a setting. And so in regards to the High Republic, in the trailer, the only thing that I noticed in the entire trailer was Yoda. They showed Yoda, and then on top of that, there's the I don't know the analogy of the eclipse. Don't know what that analogy is for. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it's in regards to the fact that the High Republic technically is like a time period where everything is kind of like good. Is that correct?
Yeah. I don't think the Sith have like resurged at this point. Like I think they're about to, but like the Sith is non-existent at this point in history.
Yeah, the Jedi Council is like at the peak of their reach and influence.
Okay. Yeah. So then I'm guessing that this might be like this is the beginning of the Sith returning. I can only assume. Yeah. We don't know, but I can only assume. Now I do have one question. How long can the Jedi live in Star Wars? Like, let's say you're just a human. Can you live longer than an actual human, or is it just normal living?
It's just normal. Okay. I mean, maybe the Force will sustain you a little bit longer, but I think in this universe, they age pretty regularly.
Okay. Yeah. Because in my mind, I was like, that'd be dope if we saw like a young Qui-Gon. I'd freak out for that. Yeah. I'd freak out.
Yeah. I don't think he'd be there. But Yoda's species, I mean, we know from like The Mandalorian, Grogu's like 50. It's like a baby. So,
well, I think even in Return of the Jedi, I think Yoda quotes himself as like 900 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
What a guy. He's old.
What a guy.
Old dude. An old fart.
All right, Adam, what is a reveal announcement premiere that happened during the VGAs that stood out to you?
Are we specifically saying stood out positively?
No, dude, anything, man. Positive or negative. I want to know, dude.
I don't know about negative, and this is probably more of a what my gaming tastes are, and this game is just not for me. Okay. But when they showed us Slitterhead, I was so disturbed, and
I hated that.
I did not like it. I was like, nope,
I hate the name.
Not for me.
It's so uncomfortable.
It is. I'm not. Anyway, if you haven't watched the Game Awards, don't know what we're talking about, maybe just go see the trailer.
Check it out. It's fun.
It's not a game for me or Austin, apparently.
No, it's not.
So I guess I'll get that one out of the way. I'm interested to see what a Wonder Woman game ends up being.
Dude, yeah, that could be cool.
I think that was the biggest surprise of anything for me. I think I think at least some people guessed that we would get an Alan Wake 2, maybe not at this event, but that we would get one. But Wonder Woman just seemed to be kind of out of left field, so we'll see what it looks like. I'm not going to like bet on it at this point because, like I said, it was just really announcing, hey, there's going to be a Wonder Woman game, and here's some kind of cinematics that aren't indicative of what the final game's probably going to be. So
I will say that I'm really, really surprised that Wonder Woman game. Okay, that sounds great. That's awesome. The people who are making it is Monolith. They're known for the Lord of the Rings games. I forgot what Middle Earth. They're known for the Middle Earth games. And so my only thing with this is the fact that WB Games is only making licensed games now. Like we have Batman. What's the Batman one that's being made? Batman. It's with the other. It's with
Arkham series.
Gotham Knights.
Thank you. Gotham Knights. We're getting Suicide Squad. We're getting Wonder Woman now by Monolith. I forgot the name of the studio. TT Games. They're making the Star Wars Lego game right now. We have. I forgot the name of the studio on top of my head, but another one's making Hogwarts Legacy. So they're making all these licenses. And so that shows
Avalanche.
Thank you. Avalanche. Yeah. And so what's crazy about this is that they were just trying to sell everything. And now it's almost as if they're like, no, forget it. Just whatever we own in regards to our IP in movies, just start making games. And so
just do it.
Exactly. And so to an extent, I want to be like, okay, that's cool. The other part of me is like, I hope that the studios who are doing these are actually enjoying it, because you want to create some of your own content at a point in time, And so we'll see. I mean, it's not too far. It's not too far from Monolith. Monolith was making Lord of the Rings games. So to go from Lord of the Rings to Wonder Woman, which is also utilizing a system that the Nemesis system within those games as well. It's in their wheelhouse. So I'm sure they'll be fine. But again, who am I? I don't know. In regards to the game reveals, something I want to point out real quick in regards to a negative, and then I'll go into a positive real fast. Sorry. Before we started, dude, I drank my water and it just completely ruined me. Okay. So one thing that I want to...
That's not how that's supposed to work.
It's not supposed to work that way.
It's water ruined you?
Yeah. I think you're broken, Robert.
Yeah, what kind of water are you
I don't know, man. It's just Target water. I got to check it out. Something that stood out to me a lot, and I'm not going to hang on this too long, but Level Infinite, I mentioned it before, they were all over the place in this award show. And I tweeted out, because Jeff Keighley, I love the guy, because the moment the show's done, he's like, give me your feedback. I want to know what we can do better. What were your thoughts? Blah, 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 blah. He's awesome with that. And I think he's the kind of guy that actually reads everything. So I tweeted to him and I gave a response. And I love the fact that he opened up and said and stood for harassment on all fronts. That's great. He kind of needed to do that, because there was a couple of days before that people didn't know, because one of the board members for the VGAs is someone who's also president for Activision. I do not know if he's a good one or a bad one at this point. God only knows. But one of the boards for Activision was also on the board for the VGAs. And so there was people pushing to be like, is Activision going to be here? And then he wrote a tweet saying that we don't stand for that. And then he said Activision and Blizzard is not going to be there at all. And then at the beginning of the show, made a statement in regards to harassment throughout the entire industry, which is great. Jeff, you have the platform. I love it. Keep doing that. He didn't call them out by name, but that's his prerogative. I don't think Jeff even wants to be in hot water with anybody. He seems like the kind of guy who's in the middle, but you know where he stands. And so, which is great. My only problem with that, and I tweeted this to him, is that it's hard for me to hear him say that when we have a publishing group called Level Infinite. It was just a story that came out a couple days ago, because I was sitting here while we were watching. We had a thread going on between us three, just talking about the games as we're watching them. And as I kept seeing Level Infinite, I was like, what is that? And so I searched it up and I saw there was a Games Industry Biz article that came out. Level Infinite is a new publishing group, a new arm for Tencent, which is a Chinese gaming studio that makes a bunch of games. They're humongous. They make a lot of stuff. Their reach is everywhere. They are investors in Epic. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of investment in PlayStation, somewhere in Xbox, somewhere. I mean, like their tendrils are everywhere. And so my only problem with that is this. Tencent is a very front-facing company, and they are people who very much so agree with the Chinese Communist Party and are completely back them up on many, many fronts. And so I just find it hard when you're like, hey, let's stand for harassment. And then we got a Tencent all over the place under the guise of Level Infinite. This is very strategic, because this happened a couple days before the Game Awards happened. They created a new publishing name as a new step into another direction to kind of get away from the name Tencent, in my opinion. And when you look at what's going on over there in China, the Holocaust in China, what's going on over there, kind of look the same. And so there's some crazy things going on over there. And so when you want to say something about this, but you got this all over the place, let's be careful a little bit. And so again, there's no way that I truly believe there's no way you can live a full free life of anything China. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. We all have something from there that we don't even know. But when you are buying things from places, in my opinion, that these people are straight up like, oh, we side with that. I'm like, oh, okay, boss. That tells me where you're at, instead of me not knowing. And that's, I guess, where the ignorance is bliss statement comes into play. And so that's my 2 cents. I really want to know, those who are listening or watching, if you have any thoughts in regards to that, I would love to see that. So let me know in the comments. But something positive and fun that I liked. They started the show off really strong. Oh my God. They started off with Hellblade, Senua Saga. And that is the smartest move they could have done. I think Hellblade and Ninja Theory as a whole is Xbox's Naughty Dog. And the power that they hold is so strong. Hellblade was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be corrected. I think Hellblade was a PlayStation exclusive at first, and then it came to Xbox, and then Xbox acquired Ninja Theory, and now they're an Xbox exclusive. And man, I don't know how PlayStation let that get away from them, but that is the smartest get that Xbox could have done. And so seeing Hellblade in display, he said multiple times, this is in game. I believe it. When people say this is in game, you got to be a little careful with that, because you were able to see multiple times where the controls were taken away from the player, because it just was a lot of, you can see Senua walking, and then you can see the forced camera pull, and then like, look at this, and then come back and then keep walking, and then force pull here, and then come back and then do your thing. I just got to say, the game looks beautiful. When they first showed it off for the first time, which was like 2 years ago, and it was like that, Senua as a whole, like up front, it looked so crisp. I've never seen anything look that crisp before in my life. It was crazy. And so seeing it in action right now, I'm really excited. I've not played Hellblade 1 yet. I hear amazing things. I mean, I already have it downloaded on my Xbox. I've just been waiting for the time to play it. Halo's out right now, so it's hard to get around to anything. And so, so I'm really excited for what Ninja Theory has in store. They are an awesome, awesome team. And they're also working on something else right now that is a game about mental health in a very, very specific way. And so this team is very, very skillful. And so I'm excited. I love Ninja Theory, man. The fact that I say that they're the Naughty Dog of Xbox, I don't say that lightly. Like it's a big thing. And so I'm really looking forward to what Hellblade has in store and what they got coming around. So awesome. Was there anything else within the game reveals that you want to talk about that got your attention in a positive or negative way?
Oh man, there was one that I loved the trailer for. I think it was Have a Nice Death. Was that the cartoony looking platformer?
Yeah,
with like the Grim Reaper. I loved that reveal. It looked really cool. I love the art, style behind it, and it just looked really funny. And I like that one a lot. I was like LOLing, like I was laughing out loud on my couch. I thought it was a great reveal.
I didn't watch the pre-show, and so I literally only looked it up, when we were in the beginning of this podcast, and I'm looking at the game reveals. I'm like, what is Have a Nice Death? That sounds so fascinating. And I looked up, I'm like, yep, this looks like my jam.
Yeah. Sort of a Hollow Knight vibes. Totally. But more Cartoon Network, like Grim Reaper type looking thing.
Sure, because it's got like the hand-drawn kind of style, and obviously a very bleak color palette.
Right.
Very
bleak.
Adam, is there anything else in regards to the reveals that stood out to you, positively or negatively?
Or negatively, I thought Rumbleverse was another negative one for me.
That was such a weird. Mate, that game makes no sense to me. I still don't get it.
I don't understand why Epic, with how much power that they have, I don't know why they couldn't be like Fortnite under like subtitle Rumbleverse and just do that, because you already got it going. Like, why not do that? Like, I feel like the people who are making this game, I feel like you're kind of setting them up to fail, because it's kind of like, no one cares about any of these characters that are in here, and it just didn't grab me at all. I don't understand it because Epic is so good at what they do, and so that blew me away. So,
yeah, we're way oversaturated on these kind of cartoony-ish,
like BRs and
multiplayer,
yes.
But yeah,
microtransactions everywhere.
Yeah, it's oversaturated, so I'm just ready to be past it.
I say that complaining about microtransactions, yet here I am like on Halo, like spending $10 on a weapon charm.
Let's go, let's go, dude.
I spent way too much money in League of Legends when I was in it. I'm like, but I gotta have the new Thresh skin. It's so good.
Yeah. I hear you.
So that's my negative one. I would say I'm actually very intrigued by ArcRaiders. I think in terms of
yes, dude.
So yeah, because I think in terms of when we talk about new free-to-play multiplayer experiences, doing something different and cool is what you need to do. Like you need to set your what's the word? You need to kind of mark yourself as different, and show that that you have something new and worth bringing to the table. And I think that based on what we saw, I'm like, yeah, this is new. This is different.
Yes.
I'm very intrigued.
Their music choice was awesome. I love the song that they had playing. It set the tone. And I was listening to some people talk about the presentation of the game. And they were kind of like, why would you start off with just them? Like, it just seemed like it was a slow rise in what was going on. But all I had to see was the fact that, one, you don't know until after and you go read the description that it's a free-to-play game, which is awesome.
Yeah. By
what I saw, I would have already paid for it because it looks cool. But the fact is, I have not seen a free-to-play game that looks that good. I don't know what they're doing over there, but it looks awesome. And so
yeah, it was beautiful.
I'm stoked to jump in and try that game out. I don't know the developers for the game. I don't know who they are. I've never seen them before. They could have made something else that I do not know about, but I'm so stoked. The game looks awesome. I love the color palette for the logo. Like they're hip, dude. I love it. They got it going for them. For me, a couple of ones that I want to talk about real fast. And Austin, I'm pretty sure you have something to say about this, and maybe even Adam. Halo TV series. We got a little bit of a trailer. Looks pretty dope. We don't see much, which is good. I think nowadays we see way too much too early. And so the fact that we got to see Master Chief a little bit was cool. That's exciting. It looks good. And I mean that, like, it actually looks good. And I think that's what they really, really need to do. And it's on Paramount Plus, which is very interesting. But nonetheless, are you excited for what you saw in regards to the Halo TV series?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. We'll see. I just am so scarred by all the other Halo things made. I don't know. Just I just hope it's good. I hope it's not corny, and I'm hoping for the best. We'll see what happens. I don't know. The trailer looks great. If we're just isolating the trailer, okay. If I have zero knowledge of any other Halo projects made for TV or big screen, without all of that, looking at this Paramount Plus series trailer, I would say this could be good. This could be good. You know, there's hope here. It could be a good series. So I will definitely watch, the first 3 episodes for sure.
Adam, any tempering your expectations? Do you have any excitement for this or no?
I don't know. I think if I wanted to get into the non-game story of the Halo universe, I would probably go pick up some books.
Yeah, books are awesome. I haven't read the books, but I hear they're awesome.
In fact, I'm really hoping that Destiny publishes some books if they haven't already. I would love to dig into like lore and story of the world in a non-game fashion for that universe.
It needs that. It needs that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know that they have an entire department that's like devoted to telling the Destiny story and other media. So I mean, we'll see what comes out of that.
Yeah. On the topic of movies, Adam, you're the only one amongst us that has a child. Another on the way.
Yeah.
Sonic 2. I love this. I love the first Sonic movie. I'm not gonna lie. It is bad, but that's what makes it good. And it is definitely, and I loved how Austin, I don't know if it was Austin or Adam, but when y'all was like, they're pandering to children. And it is obvious that this movie is pandering to kids. It is a kids movie through and through. I gotta say though, Knuckles looks dope. Idris Elba as Knuckles. I'm surprised his voice works out perfectly. I couldn't comprehend what that would be when they announced that Idris Elba was the voice of Knuckles. And so when you hear him talk for this small bit that we did, I was like, oh, dude, he's knocking it out of the park. Let's go, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. They got the original voice actor for Tails to come back and voice Tails, which is awesome because
that's cool. I didn't know that.
I will say it's kind of sad because the original voice actors for Sonic and Knuckles has just been kicked to the curb. But Tails, they got Tails back. And that's awesome because that voice is iconic. And so, you know, I love it. Tails looks awesome. Knuckles looks awesome. I can do away with James Marsden and whatever else is going on.
And the humans.
Yeah, I can do away with the humans. And Jim Carrey, I'm okay with that. I get what he's trying to do. I know what he's being directed to do. He has to play the kooky, crazy dude. And so, Adam, did you like the trailer to Sonic 2 as much as I did? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. Like you said, I think it knows what it's trying to be, just like the Fast and Furious movies know what they're trying to be.
Yeah,
family.
Exactly. It's all about family.
It's all about family.
So yeah, I'm like, I want to watch the first one. I will watch the first one at some point when it's convenient to do so.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it'll be fine.
All right.
Sure, it'll be a fun time for people who want to watch it.
Is there anything else on this list or the reveals that happened that you all want to touch on before we end off in regards to the Game Awards?
The Dune Spice Wars is like, oh, okay, a Dune game already. Like that's
RTS.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and exactly. It's like Civ. It's gonna be like a Civ game, which totally makes sense because Dune it's so big picture. Dune is all about, you know, politics and war and all that. So I think it was really well
perfect time
placed
to do
in the genre. Yeah.
Adam, anything else you want to touch on?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Cool.
Beat Saber, Lady Gaga. Stoked for that.
You're right. Biggest
legit. I love Lady Gaga.
Last thing I want to touch on real fast, and trust me, I'm not going to linger on this too long because I can. Hideo Kojima was not there. Okay. He was not there, but he came out and said, hey, I'm not there. I will be there next year, he says. And then he goes on to present a trailer for his good friend, Guillermo del Toro. Love the guy. They're both good buddies. They both were working on something in the past, but that ended. But I don't think that's relevant to anything I'm going to talk about right now. Psych, it is. And so we see the trailer, and Guillermo del Toro is right there. He's like, wow, that was a great trailer. Just as good as Death Stranding. And then, you know, because his good buddy.
No, he said.
Well, he talks about the trailer first. And so he's like, the trailer was so good, almost like Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima made Death Stranding. And on top of that, Guillermo del Toro's figure is in Death Stranding. He's not acting, but they use his likeness in the game, which is awesome because hearing him speak there and then having 30 hours of playing with fake Guillermo, I was like, man, the voice actor did such a great job. And so then on top of that, he announces the best art direction in video games. So they go through all the best art and whatnot. And before he announces the winner, he says, wow, all that art looks really good. Almost like an art for Silent Hills. I wonder if that's ever going to get made. And so when that happened, I popped off in our chat because I was like, why would he say that? The game got canceled by Konami with some bad blood of what happened for I don't know what. Kojima was making it alongside Guillermo del Toro. They were both going to co-direct the game. It got canceled. A small teaser came out called PT, you know, short for playable teaser. And so it was literally going to be Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. They were getting the art director for a humongous horror manga franchise who is an amazing artist. So this was literally like the perfect trilogy of people. It was a trio of just awesome minds coming together to make this great game. Everyone was stoked. And then it got canceled. And then, you know, a couple months after Kojima left, Sony picked him up. And then he made Death Stranding over the course of the years. And then we haven't heard anything. And then recently, we hear that Konami is starting to license out their games and are trying to get people to make them. Metal Gear is being said to be developed by a Chinese studio, which I'm super stoked about because it seems like they're a humongous studio that's working on everything Metal Gear. Like they're remastering and remaking. And on top of all that, it was said that Silent Hills is being made by 2 studios. One of them is a big Japanese studio, and the second one they have not said anything about. And so you can look at that into multiple ways. One, when Kojima comes to the Game Awards, it's because he's showing something. And so he's coming next year. He said it, okay? He said it. On top of all that, Guillermo del Toro, that video was filmed. It wasn't like he was there live. That was a filmed video of him being there. And even if it was, the fact that he would just come out and say something like that, he knows what happened. They're good friends. He knows everything that happened. And he goes and says, oh, that looks just as good as the artwork for Silent Hills. I wonder if another one of those is going to get made. He's obviously hinting at something. And so I'm really hoping that Silent Hills is going to come back being made by Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. If they get Norman Reedus back as well, man, sign me up, dude. Let's go. So that's all that we go. I'll end it there. All right, guys. Well, we're 56 minutes into the show, and there's a lot of things that we want to talk about in regards to games that we played, but I don't want to go too long. So for those who are watching and listening, I appreciate you all being here with us. There's a bit of a distance in between, a time in between episodes. Like I said, the last one just completely failed because of the audio files. It just didn't work, and so that one didn't go up. So those who are watching, those who are listening, thank you. I appreciate you. Let us know in the comments or on Twitter what your all's thoughts are on anything that we talked about. Let us know what your thoughts are in regards to the Game Awards. What was your favorite reveal? Are you happy for the awards and who won Game of the Year? Let us know in the comments down below. Until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And peace out.
See ya.